All right, January 13th, 2023, doing an update on my Nano tank. Didn't do an update, I think, in November, December. Kids' sports holidays got in the way, so I forgot to do a recording because I was trying to do a monthly to update the progress of the condition of the tank and growth. But as you can see, everything is looking really good reference coral-wise. If you look at my older videos, you'll see the little frags and a couple of zoas, and everything's exploding. You also notice that I have algae in my sand bed, which is no bueno. And I have some algae in the rocks, which isn't as abundant, but that is from Bryopsis. Bryopsis algae is one of the worst in the reef tanks because it's stringy, it clings on to rocks. Like green turf algae and cyanobacteria algae isn't as bad, but you got to deal with it. When it started exploding my tank a little bit over the course of a week, I realized my nitrates had bottomed out, which some people like that in their tanks, but it can be a kickoff for Bryopsis because if you have nitrates bottom out and you have phosphate in your tank, for some reason that type of algae explodes because it just does well with low nitrates and it feeds off the phosphate. But the key is not to panic, go crazy, turn lights off, throw chemicals in to try to combat it, change your water chemistry drastically. I just left everything alone, cleaned off the rocks, manually cleaned the sand beds, which I have to do today. It's a little bit green on my grill ass too on the bottom. But just a slow process of getting my nitrates back where I wanted them. And there's a new magnesium supplement. Well, not a new, but I looked at Reef Builder's website and they had a story they did on, I think it's Brightwell Aquatics. God, magnesium, so I forget the name. I'll probably put the link in the description. But I did a ton of research and they said that magnesium dosing supplement actually over the course of time, and the more you dose it, it'll reduce and kill off Bryopsis algae. So I'm going to switch from Red Sea magnesium to that because I'm already dosing in that bottle. That smaller bottle is my magnesium supplement from Red Sea, but I'm going to be switching and dosing the Brightwell Aquatics version. So hopefully that solves it. But coral wise, everything's doing great. Like I said, that purple monster colony, the zoas, is going nuts. It's taken over some other nicer zoas too. Like I have worldwide corals, AOI zoas. You can't see them, but they're kind of smothering them. Everything else is taken off. My SPS are doing really good in the back, top. They're still encrusting, growing deep bases out and branches, but they're slow. My kaleidoscope clove polyps there are fairly new and they're doing crazy. Everything's doing great. Taking over the tank. My Looney Tunes, Gonoporas going nuts. My chalices are doing really good. You can see the algae in the sand bed, little ugliness, but tanks go through that. You have to. This tank's only been up and running not even 6 months, I think. A little less. Yeah, less than 6 months. So this happens. It'll go through ugly phases until the tank gets happy and kind of just gets stable. I'm just happy with the corals are having a great time and doing really good. So that's what I'm mostly focused on. Fish are doing really good as well. That purple gorgonian is going nuts. It's branching out a bunch of new stalks too. I really like that coral. I've had it for a very long time. I think they talked about it in the previous video. You can literally cut a piece of that, stick it anywhere, and that thing will do awesome. You can see my that's a Jason Fox silver bullet encrusting monopore. You see a little bit of white in it. Had a little bit of a bleaching going on in December in the center of the corals to the middle, and it did it on my other encrusting. You can see that green with bright orange polyps. It's a really sick encrusting moni that I've never seen before. And I got that from a store not too long ago. You see the Bryopsis algae growing on the top of it. That was from a dead spot. But it's actually growing over the dead spot. So that algae will be gone soon anyways, once I manually remove it. And there's my tailspot blenny not eating the algae. They don't like it, Bryopsis algae, which sucks for me. But anyways, back to the coral. The reason why it was bleaching, I discovered my alkalinity got a little too high. It got to about around 9. Everything else in the tank was completely fine with it and loved it, but for some reason those two encrusting monoporas did not like it. So I don't want my alkalinity around 9 anyways because I like to leave a little bit of a buffer if for some reason it goes up or down. I like to keep it around 8. So it's okay to go into the 7s, which is natural seawater. And if it raises into the mid 8s to high 8s, like it happened to me, I can reduce it. If I kept it around 9 and I started getting an increase in alkalinity and it got to 10, then that's way too high. Things in your tank can suffer and die. So I like to leave a little bit of a buffer and keep it closer to 8. So I ended up reducing my dosing just a little bit to slowly get it back to where I wanted it to. I'm testing every 2 days. Got it back to around a little over 8 within about a week or 2. So you can change your chemistry levels with alkalinity, calcium. Just got to do it slowly. Don't do it quick. Other than that, like I said, everything's good, man. The Zoa's doing great. My branching Cephassia over there, that rainbow one's doing awesome. It's encrusting. Everything's just really doing good. Tank's doing well. The key is stability and just maintain your cleaning regimen. I do 5 gallons water change weekly. I change out that filter piece probably every 2 days. I think I talked about that in one of my first videos. That's just filter floss. I ordered off Amazon, a big sheet, and I just cut off little squares and they last me forever. So like every 2 days I'll replace it. So like one sheet will last me a very long time, but helps floss the water and just helps in removing organics from my tank too, because I don't have a calcium reactor. I don't have a protein skimmer. I wish I did, because then that would probably help with maintaining my phosphate nitrate levels a little more consistent, so I wouldn't have blowups of algae. But this tank is way too small, and I know they make small protein skimmers, but I don't want to have something big hanging off the tank and making a bunch of noise, because my tank is very, very quiet, dead silent. It's right in the living room next to the TV. You can't hear nothing. So 5 gallon water change, maintaining my levels. This tank's doing really good. So that is the update. Oh, one more thing. My pH, because of the cold weather, I try to leave the door open, get as much fresh air into the house. I love cold weather, but of course my wife and kids, and they don't want to be freezing in here, so the door was closed significant time. My pH dropped pretty low for for a good part of December. Obviously, you want to keep your pH around 8 if you can, or higher. The corals love it. Healthy for the tank, good oxygen for the fish. But it dropped and it was in the mid 7s for a while. And I think that's why my SPS they go through phases. They'll take off in growth and then kind of just plateau for a little bit and then take off again. I think it has a direct relation to pH in the tank, which it's normal. As long as it doesn't drop to lethal levels, which is like sub 7, then I'm okay with it. But there are ways you can fix your pH and raise it. But again, I'm just happy with everything growing the way it is. I don't need to speed growth on anything, especially in a small tank. But that's it for the update for January. I will see you later.